What's up guys, Venom F5 here. So today I've gone through the most of the categories such as grinding, handling, cruising, off-roading, top speed, those categories, and I've picked my personal 3 favorites in the game, but to keep it sort of better, I've gone from high range to medium range to low range, so my 3 favorites of the category from one of those ranges. So yeah, let's get into the video. This is just gonna help if you're looking for one of these cars. You know, you need a good car in this category. Maybe this will help you so you can figure out what you want. Anyways, let's get into the video. So the first class is handling, and this is the most expensive or hardest one to get. This is the Aston Martin Valkyrie. It's the rank 300 car. This is pretty much agreed by everybody who owns it to be the best handling car in Ultimate Driving. The handling is just ridiculously good for the old chassis. Keep in mind this is all getting recorded with the old chassis, but the handling on this car, you just really can't beat it. It handles really nicely. This is really good for any racing. Obviously Victory Road's out, but this used to be the best car for around the island. Now if this car gets the new chassis when this video goes up, well, that sucks. So yeah, but this is rank 300 and the highest best handling in the game. So yeah, this is, in my opinion, best handler, and most people agree. Next up is the CCGT. Well, Conan says CCGT. Now, this is a forgotten car in Ultimate Driving, and I don't entirely understand why. Because the handling is really good, and it's not even a bad grinder car. Like, 250 miles an hour, 4.8 million. Like, why do people get the Centenario? They should get this instead if you need something different. But, like, this has really good handling, so it's weird. Basically, when you're going over 100, between 100 and like 230 has good handling. When you go over that, it's not so good. But this car is really good handling. This is one of my favorite cars in Ultimate Driving. It's just really fun to use. Really good handling for higher speed racing. And even if you're looking for like a grinder car that has some good handling and is still fun, this isn't a bad option. Now, obviously, it's not going to grind as well as, say, a Venom F5 or a Tuatara, but it still goes 250, and it's 4.8 million, so it makes, you know, a fair amount of cash and XP a mile. But, yeah, this is the middle tier for expensive price, and honestly, I prefer driving this more than the Valkyrie. It definitely doesn't handle as well, but it is more fun. So, yeah. And for the cheapest, the Lotus Elise. Now, this might surprise a lot of people, but it's $147,000. But has really good handling. Now, its downfall is it's pretty slow, to be honest. Speed's slow, but like for the price of $147,000, you really can't beat it. It's definitely not the fastest accelerating or top speed, but like as far as just like a good cheap car, like if you're just starting out like UD, you know, or even if you're not just starting UD, if you have like a Slee S7 or something, and you just want a good car for like Delancey Gorge, like this is a great car for Delancey Gorge, since you can't even go faster anyways. You just want something cheap but good handling. This is a great option. And it's not great for grinding. I wouldn't really ever recommend using it for grinding because of this top speed. But for handling, definitely good, and like I said, you cannot beat the price. So yeah, if you're just looking for a cheap, good Delancey Gorge car, I would really recommend this one. Next up, grinding. So I'm starting off with the best XP grinder in the game, the 250 GTO. By the way, thank you Tanner13242 for letting me borrow your 250 GTO for this clip. But this car is slow, 175 miles an hour, 174 that area. Makes a ton of XP though. This is the best XP grinding car by far. Now this is rank 400, so it's pretty hard to get. So if you get this, basically this is the only reason you ever would use this car would be to grind a rank 500. That's what most people use this thing for. But this is the best XP car in the game, and if you need anything for XP, then yeah, you want to use this. Obviously not many people own this as it's rank 400. But yeah, best XP grinding car in the game. This is not, however, the best grinding car for cash in the game. The best cash car, and by a good amount, is this LVN. It can make $1.6 million in like 4 hours. It's $24,650,000, so by far the most expensive car in UD. And it's just it's worth it completely. If you can grind to this car, then you should. Obviously, the Devo is really not a bad car either if you don't grind much. But this, if you're really into grinding, is an excellent car. And it still makes a ton of XP too. It's the second best XP grinder in all of Ultimate Driving. So it's basically a great car all around. It also has a top speed of 260 miles an hour. So it's not like the Devo that lacks top speed. This is also a decent mile farming car too, which a lot of people care about. So if you're really into grinding, obviously I would recommend this car. But this is the best cash grinding car in all of Ultimate Driving, and by a good amount too. Next up, the Venom F5. Now, a lot of people are like, why not the Celine S7? And that's because that's just really cheap, honestly, for grinding. If you're looking for a car under $1 million, then you should definitely go with the Celine S7. But if you're just looking for a good car for grinding after that, then you're going to want either Hennessy Venom F5, SSC Tuatara, or Koenigsegg Jesko. Yes, I said Jesko. Deal with it. Now, I personally like the Hennessy Venom F5 because it's just the most stable overall. The Jesko is a good car, but it got the new chassis and that's made it glitchy, and the Tuatara is probably going to get the new chassis, but the Tuatara might also get a massive speed buff, so we'll have to see. At the moment, the Jesko, Venom F5, and Tuatara are all changing so much, there's really no one in specific you should get. This Koenigsegg, the Koenigsegg Jesko is $5.6 million. This Hennessy Venom F5 I'm in right now costs $4,400,000, and the SSC Tuatara costs $3.8 million. So it's really all up to you, but I prefer this one. So yeah, for grinding, they're all pretty similar. Next up is off-roaders. Now usually, for all the other categories, I'm just doing price of highest to lowest, but this one I'm going to do just what they're good at. So this Gladiator is the best car for getting up the mountain and just going fast over smoother terrain. It's the fastest out of them. However, it is not very good at tricky off-road, like basically going up on the side of Mount Astley on trails that without guardrails or going over big bumps. But as far as like smooth off-road, like trails, smoother trails, it's the best, the fastest I should say, in the entire game. Next up is the Wrangler Rubicon. This is the best vehicle for going over rough terrain, steep off-roads that are really bumpy. Its downfall is it's somewhat easy to flip, but it's still a really stable car overall. But it just is by far the best at going over any steep terrain, any serious off-road, and partly because it's so small, it fits on all the super small trails really well too. However, it is worth noting that with this and the Gladiator, they are both, at the moment of recording this, gems. Now, they will be converted into cash to be able to buy it for cash in the future, but at the moment, these are unobtainable. And finally, the Ram Rebel concept. Now, this car is $120,000, and it's just a great all-around car. It's pretty good at the tough stuff, but it's still really quick on just trails. If you were going to look into a good off-roader, I would recommend this one. It's not expensive, however, it is one of the more expensive ones out of all the off-roaders. But it's just really pretty decent at everything. Not much else to say on this. It's a really stable car, but yeah, just good at everything. And I would recommend this one. Next up is cruising cars. Now keep in mind these are absolutely worthless for pretty much everything but cruising. Unfortunately, no good grinding cars really all that good for cruising. Also, these are really my own opinions because obviously everybody has their own. My first and my favorite and the most expensive, of course, is the Lamborghini Benino. This is $9 million. It's really cool. It's the spider, so your hat can get blown off and all of that good stuff. There's Tanner. It's got a few downfalls, like it does wall hug, but honestly, it's just my favorite car to cruise around in. You don't see many of these because they're $9 million in a total ripoff. I would not recommend this unless you've got already like an LVN and you just want something cool for cruising around in. As you see, it's wall hugging there. But yeah, it's just a really nice car. It looks pretty good in my opinion. Some people hate it for some reason. But yeah, stats aren't too good. It only goes less than 220, so you don't really want it for grinding. But as a cruising car, I like it a lot. Second on the list is the McLaren F1. this is unlockable at rank 200, so it's not really all that high of a rank, but it's just such a great car. It's pretty quick, good handling, not even a bad grinding car, but that doesn't matter because it's free, just unlockable at 200. But it's just a really nice car, good for Delancey, good for all over the place. Unfortunately, a lot of people lately have been getting these and then flexing in them and kind of ruining the reputation, but it's still not too bad. It's got a moving wing. I mean, it's very small. The only downfall of this is it has room for one person, unlike in real life where it has 3 seats inside. But it's still a very good car if you're just by yourself. And finally, for the cruising class, and the cheapest, is the Alexis Lfa. Now, I didn't really go with a cheaper car than this because I didn't really feel like it. None of the others are super good, so I just went with this. I do like this car. It's my favorite supercar to use. The handling's pretty decent. The top speed is a little low at like only 205 or whatever. But all in all, pretty good. Brakes are pretty solid. I like the way it looks. Hopefully when they add sounds, it'll sound like really, really cool, but I don't know, we'll have to see. Definitely would not recommend this for grinding, but just for cruising around, pretty good supercar. Really nothing else to say on this one though. Next up are the best 4-seater cars that are still really fast and can hold your friends. Now, this is the most expensive. It goes pretty quick, I think like 250, so I believe this is faster than the Tesla Roadster. But it's absolutely horrible and you should never buy it. It's on the new chassis, so that's part of the issue, but it has rear wheel steering, which as you can see, the handling is just really weird. Here it's really slow, and then I can slow down and it handles really well. It's absolute train wreck of a car. There's absolutely no point in ever buying it. You can barely drive it, but yeah, this is quite expensive at $3.8 million, I believe. And yeah, just absolute trash. Do not buy it. It sucks at literally everything. Next up is the Tesla Roadster. It is $500,000 and goes 250 miles an hour. Now overall, this isn't necessarily a bad car. A lot of, I'm just going to say the word of idiots. I'm sorry if you own this, but a lot of idiots own it. And they're just really, they blast their loud audios and just annoy people. So that's why people don't like seeing this car much. Also, people really, all the Tesla fanboys just say it's the best car on planet Earth when it's really not. This is a pretty decent car. It's not that bad for grinding. The Celine S7 is worth it. Do not get this. Don't let the speed fool you. But this is a decent car, especially just if you have 4 friends who all need a lift, or 3, I guess, because you're driving. And yeah, there's really not much to say about this car. It's pretty boring. It's just fast and holds 4 people. Next up, for the Taikon Turbo S Concept. This has a name. Poison yelled it to me, but I forgot it already. It's a very slow top speed. The acceleration's pretty good though. This is the cheapest one, $370,000. I wouldn't really recommend this. It's definitely not the worst car you could get, but it's nothing special. Makes a good taxi, I guess, and that's really all there is to say about it. So that's gonna do it for this video. If you learned something new, leave a like, I guess. I don't know, I'm not gonna beg for those. Thank you all for watching. I don't really know what else to say. This video could be outdated when you get to it. If they've made the gem cars cash already, then the off-roaders will be good, and if they added the new chassis to the grinding cars, then that could be all different too. However, this video should still be pretty accurate. Once it gets to be completely outdated, then I'll just take it down. So I guess you won't even see this. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Venom out.